You can continue.
Okay, good morning and good afternoon, friends. Today is our second week, so we are going to have a class on utilization of electrical energy. So earlier we have discussed the units, what are the present under this utilization of electrical energy, and what are the textbooks is going to be referred and to be used under this subject. So in the last class we have discussed what are the types of drives, that is individual drive, group drive, and multi-motor drive. So by choosing the type of drives for our purposes, so we are going to study the type of characteristics what we have to we take into the consideration while choosing your motor. So the main thing, the characteristics are our starting characteristics and running characteristics. So we will go into the slide. So these are all the units we have seen earlier, and what are the choice of the motors, and what are the types of the motors which are suitable for this. For these, here see we have seen, we have discussed some of the motors like a shunt, series, a compound, a single phase and three phase induction motor, synchronous motors, square motor, repulsion motor. Now we are going to study the type of the characteristics for the DC motors and AC motors. So these are the some connections. We have discussed what is the drive, all those things, group drive, individual drive, and what are the multi-motor drive. Now we are going to step into the next topic, that is our characteristics of the motor. So before going to the characteristics, we first of all we have to know what is our purpose, and which type of motor we have to select for our purpose. It may be in a domestic or it may be in a industrial purpose. So for that purpose, for choosing of a motor, we are going to study the characteristics, that is nothing but starting characteristics and running characteristics. So for you to understand very easily, just I have mentioned I have divided these characteristics, what comes under your starting characteristics and running characteristics. So here, under the starting characteristics, what are the variations with respect to armature current? Those all are comes under your starting characteristics, and the running characteristics is nothing but the characteristics which was drawn or which was obtained between the speed and the torque of your motor. So by combining these two, we are going to see the overall performance of your motor. Okay, that is nothing but also we are going to see how the efficiency of the motor is also going to be considered between the power and the efficiency. So now we are going to study the first motor, that is DC motor drive. So the motor drive which was connected to the supply of DC is nothing but your DC motor drive. So earlier I have discussed the drive. The exact drive is nothing but the combination of a prime mover, transmission equipment, and a mechanical load, which combines, and these total system which was connected to a one motor, that is nothing but a prime mover. So that's nothing but even an electric drive. So that electric drive which was driven by a DC supply is nothing but your DC motor drive. So here some of the motors which we are going to have under the DC motor drive, that is shunt motor and separately excited motor, series motor, compound motor, universal motor, all these types of motor. But here we are going to study regarding the shunt motor, series motor, and the compound motor. So how the characteristics are going to be differ for shunt and series to compound, and how they are going to be suitable for our purposes. Here, before going to study the shunt motor or any DC motor, let you know some basic equations what are the going to be have in our motor. So here the first equation EB is equals to V minus IRA. Some these equations are nothing but our basic equations. So here in the motor or in the generator, an EMF is going to be generated in the generator, and is going to back EMF is going to be generated at the motor. So these two are going to be represented by EB in the motor, that is nothing but back EMF, and EG represents your generated EMF. Suppose has here in the first equation, if we consider the voltage, now let us see. I will show the DC shunt motor first of all. This is the connection of your DC shunt motor. That is nothing but one separated field. See here, one RSH. This is a field which was connected across, that is parallel to the armature terminals of your motor, that is A and A. And these two terminals are combinedly connected. These armature terminals and the shunt field terminals are combinedly connected to a voltage source, a single source. From this, we are going to supply the total current to the both the loads. So here we can by the uh, flow of current, by the direction of flow of current, we can calculate the total current by the sum of the current which was flowing to the armature terminals and as well as the current flowing to the shunt terminals. So the total IL is nothing but load current, which is can be calculated by the sum of IA plus ISH. So here some of here whatever the current passing through the armature, we are going to have an generation of back EMF. An EMF is produced by the motor, that is the back EMF. When we have the KVL or KCL expressions, the sum of the relations has been constructed. These are the sum of them. EB is equal to V minus IA. Whereas the back EMF is nothing but we are having an equation, right? Phi Z n by 60 into P by A. Because phi is nothing but the flux, Z is the number of conductors, N is the speed of the motor per second, P is number of poles, A is the parallel path. So by considering all these things, we are going to define what is in a back EMF. So we by equating some these two equations, we are going to have the speed equations, which is n is directly proportional to some constants into that is nothing but 1 by 2 pi into some like that. So the complete constant is going to be replaced with some k1, and the EB is the back EMF, which was inversely proportional. The speed is sorry, the flux is inversely proportional to the speed, and speed is going to be inversely proportional to the flux produced. So where the speed is nothing but we are going to be considered as an omega. Omega is nothing but your speed of a motor. So omega is nothing but that depends upon the voltage and current. So here the product of your back EMF, which was produced in your motor, and the current passing through the armature terminals, the product of these two things will gives you the speed. But instantly we have a constant thing that is nothing but omega is equal to 2 pi nt. Nt is T is nothing but your torque which was produced by the motor at the speed. So we are here the difference between omega and n. Omega is we are going to have the calculation of speed in radians per second, and the n is nothing but speed in kilometer. So this omega is equal to 2 pi nt, whereas we have that n as an k1 into EB into phi. So by all these solving the above equations and substituting, well, finally we are going to get the torque equation like tau is equal to 1 by 2 pi into phi z n by 60 into P by A. So all these things are going to be kept under a constant value. Here I am going to be considered as an K2. So K2 is nothing but all the 1 by 2 pi into 60 by 60 into P by A. All those things are considered as a constant value. So here, if we consider this K2 as a proportionality constant, then the torque is going to be depends upon the product of flux and the armature current. So tau is directly proportional to phi A. We can have that equation in the lateral things. So here I have highlighted these two things. where I was going to replace the K1 is nothing but a constant, proportionality constant. So I'm going to have the N directly proportional to EB by 5. And the torque is also going to be proportional, is directly proportional to phi I. So these two equations are very, very important for defining our characteristics. So is there for the starting characteristics and the running characteristics. Running characteristics is nothing but the characteristics which we are going to study between the speed and the torque. That is nothing but EB by phi into versus phi into IA. Nothing but speed into torque. So that is nothing but here the torque is nothing but the torque which was developed in the armature due to the flux produced in the armature and the current passing through the armature. That's why we are going to be calculated in the Newton meters. So here I have mentioned the terms about the torque which is developed in the armature and measured in Newton meters. IA is the armature current which is in the amperes. EB is the back EMF and phi is the flux in the Webers. So this is the first we are going to study about the characteristics of the shunt motor. This as earlier we discussed, this is your construction of your DC motor. So whether I have seen it as written here itself, the field winding which was connected across your parallel terminals of your armature is nothing but your shunt motor. So the single source, that is V, is going to be applied for the motor, and the same total current is going to be divided into two parts, that is IA and ISH. ISH is nothing but the represents of the shunt field current, and IA is the armature current which was flowing towards the armature terminals of your motor. So now we are going to study the starting characteristics and running characteristics. Before going to the starting characteristics, now first of all we will study why we have to study this starting characteristics. Why? Because it is very essential to know the starting torque of how much the starting torque is going to be necessary for the motor to accelerate. So for that purpose, it is very important to study the starting characteristics. So once again, I'm repeating that. Why? Because it is very important to study the starting, excuse me, starting characteristics to know at the time of starting how much of the torque is going to be necessary to accelerate your motor or to have a motion in your motor from which position. So it from the standstill position, because before starting the motor or any machine, first it was in the standstill position of the load to the load. There is nothing but we applied the load at the standstill position. So to move the motion or to rotate the motion at the standstill load, at the steady load, how much of the torque we required, how much the starting torque is going to be required to have the acceleration of your motor. So that's why for that purpose, it is very important to study the starting characteristics at the time for the each and every motor. So as earlier I have said that under the starting characteristics, the torque and the speed and the output power, these three are going to be depends upon the variation of your armature current. So here the main important component is the armature current. How the armature current is going to be vary by depending upon the variation of your armature current, how the other terms, that is the torque, the speed and the output power is going to be vary. So now we will see what is things going to be happen. Okay, we will go into the first characteristics is torque versus armature current. So here, sorry. Yes. So see in this expression, let me have this. Here earlier we have seen some of the formulas, basic formulas, and I have told you that here these two, please note these two formulas. That is, n speed is proportional to the directly proportional to EB and inversely proportional to the flux, and the torque is directly proportional to the product of flux and the armature current. So by depending upon these two relations, we are going to have the characteristics. So here in this DC motor, the first expression, that is nothing but the torque. So we are going to have the characteristics between the torque and the armature current. So here the relation shows the torque is directly proportional to the product of flux and the armature current. So here we are going to consider the DC shunt motor. So here the DC shunt motor, in the DC shunt motor, whatever the flux produced in the poles of your motor is going to be in a constant. So here the for that flux per pole is going to be in a constant. We are neglecting, or we are making the flux as an also a constant. That's why the torque is going to be depends upon the Ia. Here the relation shows the torque is directly proportional to Ia. That means whatever the changes happens in the armature current is also going to be have the effect on the torque produced by the motor. So that's why here see the actual thing, the oh yeah, here the torque increases when the armature current increases. So the line should be passes from the origin. This is the zero, nothing but an origin. Why? Because the torque depends upon the changes of the armature current. So if the armature current is zero, the torque is zero. If the armature current is going on increasing from low values to high value, then the torque is also going to be increased in a straight line, which was starts from the origin. Okay, here we are having another characteristics like character in the same graph is shaft torque. So how it is, how it happens? It's nothing but it is due to an armature reaction. Due to armature reaction, the field is going to get weakening. So after the weakening of the field, the characteristics are going to move with some armature current that is nothing but your dotted line, which is nothing but your useful torque. Useful torque. That is nothing but these type of characteristics, nothing but called as drooping characteristics. Nothing but this dotted line, this space is going to happen a droop, is some movement. So actually, the characteristics are going to be starts from your origin, because the torque is going to be depends upon the armature current. But practically, so this is going to be done in the practically. But when coming to the armature reaction, consideration of armature reaction, the torque is directly proportional to the. So here also the same relation we are going to be considered. Due to the armature reaction, the field is going to be weakening. Due to the weak field, the reaction causes the torque line to droop from origin to some point of the armature current. So there also we are the relation applicable. The torque always depends upon, the torque is directly proportional to Ia. So on that relation, the characteristics are also having in a straight line, but not starting from origin. It is starting from some of the value of the armature current. So here we have to consider one important note, that is at the time of starting, to generate a high starting torque, because high starting torque, we need this type, there's nothing but shunt motor. This type of motor needs large amount of armature current. So why? Because the torque is always depends upon the armature current. So this DC motor is very applicable, very importantly applicable for your traction purpose. So for traction purpose, we need at the time of starting, we need very high starting torque. So due to that, we need that high starting armature current. High starting torque For that purpose, for to obtain the high starting torque, we need high armature current. So large amount to obtain the large amount of starting current, we need a large value of IA at the time of starting. For that, we are going to get damage to the motor, because at the time of starting, if the current passes very heavily to the armature, then some of the effects are going to be happen in the motor. So due to this, DC motors cannot develop for the high starting torque. This is for especially the shunt motors. So wherever the medium torque requirements in your applications, whether it is in the domestic or in the industrial purposes, where the medium torque production is required, there only we are going to select the DC shunt motor for the medium purposes, medium torque. So this is the characteristics of between the torque and the armature current. Then this is the second characteristics which was going to be experienced under your starting characteristics. That is nothing but speed versus armature current. So here is nothing but here see, this is a constant speed line. Constant speed line. Why? Because the voltage is going to be kept constant. So the voltage is going to be constant and the field current is also going to be constant. That's why we are going to get a constant speed. So if here, see, the N is directly proportional to back EMF. That's nothing but voltage. But it is inversely proportional to, N is inversely proportional to the flux. That is, if the voltage is constant, that or the EMF, whatever the back EMF produced by the DC motor is constant, then the speed is also going to be constant. So here, the constant speed line. See, here, the line indicates the constant speed. So while consideration of the flux is going to be increased, then the speed is going to be decreased. If the flux is going to be decreased, then the speed is going to be increased. That is why inversely proportional. That is nothing but vice versa. So here, earlier we know that the back EMF equation, that is nothing but V minus IARA. So by substituting this value in the above equation, that is N directly proportional to EB by phi A, there's nothing but V minus IARA by phi. So here we are making the voltage is constant and the field current is going to also constant. It's always depends upon the armature current. So since for the earlier characteristics, while considering the DC shunt motor, the flux per pole is going to be get then a constant. So here also we are going to get the flux as a constant. So the total equation depends upon N directly proportional to V minus IA RA. So all these things happen at no load. At no load. At no load condition. At no load condition, the flux will be very maximum. The flux is going to be very maximum. So because no load due to the armature reaction. Now I am going to increase the load on the motor. Then what will happen? Then what will happen? The armature current is going to be increased to have the torque of your motor at the standstill position. By increasing the load, then flux is going to be, what happened? The flux is going to be decreased. The flux going to be decreased, and the drop is going also the drop is going to be increased. So due to the armature reaction, so here we are going to neglect the armature reaction. So by neglecting the armature reaction, we are making the flux is almost constant. The almost constant. So here nothing but EB is directly proportional to EB is directly proportional to N phi. From this equation, if we consider N is directly proportional to EB by phi. That is your first equation which I have earlier written, this one. So as the load increases, what will happen? The armature current increases. As armature current increases, this IA RA drop also increases. So by considering these things, the speed is going to be decreased. See, once again, I am repeating, when the load is going to be increased on your motor, so the armature current is going to be increased. While increasing the armature current, the drop of your motor is going to be increased. When the drop increases, the speed of your motor decreases. So the characteristics is going to be steep down. See, when the armature current is going to be increased step by step, the speed is going to be decreased according to your armature current. So this is the performance of your characteristics between the speed when we consider between the speed and the armature currents, which depends upon these formulas. And the next one is output versus armature current. So here now there is nothing but more discussable is there is only one point. The output of the motor is always depends upon the armature current, shaft torque. The output of the motor is depends upon the shaft torque because the torque is directly proportional to the armature current. So we can say the output of the motor is also depends upon the armature current, right? Earlier we have discussed torque is directly proportional to phi Ia. Torque is directly proportional to sorry. Torque is directly proportional to phi Ia, where flux per pole in the DC motor is constant. So we are neglecting the flux. Therefore, the torque is directly proportional to Ia. So here also the characteristics between the output and armature current, whatever the power is going, that is HP, power is directly is going to be depends upon the armature current, whereas the armature currents is directly proportional to torque. Therefore, the it depends upon directly proportional to torque. So that's why for this armature current is going to be act medium for both the power and the torque. So we can write the output power is directly proportional to torque. So if we increase the armature current, what will happen? The output power is also going to be increased. If the output power is increased, then the torque is also going to be increased. So see, from the point of armature current, because due to some armature reactions, from here point, the power is going to be started while increasing the armature current or by increasing the shaft torque, then the output current is going to be increased. The output current is, the output power, sorry, the output power is going to be increased. Just check these characteristics. It is going to be gradually increased when the current of the armature is going to be increased. But as earlier we have seen, the torque and the armature current is going to be start at the origin, but due to the armature reaction, the characteristics are going to droop. So at this point, if we consider this one, if we taken the HP, the output power on the y-axis and the same as the armature current, from these drooping characteristics, we can define the horsepower. From this point, it is gradually increasing, whereas the armature current increases. So this is the equation. Tau is directly proportional to phi Ia, where flux per pole in the DC shunt motor is going to be constant considerably. So while constant, we are going to have this also proportionality constant. The torque depends upon armature current. and this output power also depends upon armature current, the armature current to the torque. So the relation between these three is directly proportionality. So when the horsepower increases, the torque is a shaft torque. This is TSH, shaft torque. The shaft torque is going to be increased. If the shaft torque is, how the shaft torque is going to be increased? The increase of armature current. So the variation is going to be shown in this characteristics. Next, here these three comes under your starting characteristics, whereas I have discussed earlier under the starting characteristics, this is the torque versus armature current, speed versus armature current, and the output versus armature current. Now we will see what are the running characteristics. That is nothing but the characteristics which was drawn between the speed and the torque. Then how it is going to be happen. Yes, some of the here also we are having some equations here itself. The voltage armature equations. See here, earlier we have seen this equation E is equal to V minus IA RA. So the back EMF in this motor is going to be expressed EB is directly proportional to flux, the product of flux and the speed. So the this relation defines that the production of back EMF depends upon the product of flux produced in the armature terminals and the speed of the motor. So from this, I am going to convert into the equality by removing the proportionality constant and make it as some K. Here K is nothing but a constant, whereas here I am written where K is a constant. So here from this equation, I am going to have the relationship for speed and EMF. N is equals to EB by K phi. So earlier here we are having the relation back EMF EB is equals to V minus IA RA. So I am going to substitute here EB equation V minus IA RA and dividing the V by K phi minus IA RA by K phi. So this is one equation for the speed. Now I am taking the first equation which I have shown you to keep in your mind, which is an important thing. Torque is directly proportional to phi A and EB is directly proportional to N EB by phi A. N is directly proportional to EB by phi A. So here I am going to take this torque is directly proportional to phi A. From this, I am also making the proportionality constant into the equality constant by putting in a K. So here from this equation, I am going to have the IA value is nothing but T by some constant into phi. Now I am going to substitute this IA in the above equation of the speed. See, IA is nothing but T by K. IA RA by, we will get K square phi square. See, it is completely combinedly written as K phi whole square into RA, that is tau. It has been cut while pasting the equation. Tau by K by phi square. So from the first onwards, we are discussing the flux per pole is going to be a constant in the shunt motor. So we are going to be neglect here in the equation, and the equation can be rewritten as V by K K1 minus T by K1 square into RA. So this one. Here we can have this the constant, but earlier in the books they has taken the complete K phi constant into flux is going to be taken into 1K, or you can have it the flux as a constant for the poles, which was considered as the constant in your DC shunt motor, can be written as K1, or you can have written a K square. It's nothing but the notation doesn't matter. So here, as per the textbook or as per the matter, they have considered that K5 as an a K1. So here in this between the characteristics of speed and the torque, they are making the voltage as an a constant and the armature resistance is as a, taken as an a constant value. So by keeping the both the terms as a constant value, the speed torque characteristics is nothing but here we are taking n is directly proportional to tau. That's it. Because everything is making the constant. Here the voltage is making constant, the armature resistance is constant, as the K1 or K1 square or K square or K5, K square, phi square, all these things are also constant. So by making all these things constant, the final result is going to be have a final relation, sorry, not result, final relationship between the speed and the torque is going to be here, n is directly proportional to 5, but with minus sign. Because here, see, some, if we consider this constant minus tau, n equals to, we are making the voltage as constant and this is also constant. The total going to be having a constant sum. I am taking as C, some constant minus TC. So if we n is equal to 1 minus tau into some constant. So we can have the relation, that is we are getting a minus t. So here when the when the load of the motor increases, then the torque is also going to be increases because the armature current is going to be increases. Yeah, throughout the shunt motor, the torque always depends upon the armature current. So the armature current increases, the torque increases. And if the torque increases, what will happen? The speed decreases. So the load, if we increase the load, then armature current is going to be increased. Then when armature current is going to be increased, the torque is going to be increased. When the torque increases, the speed of the motor decreases. So the characteristics, this is the speed constant line. I have said that n is directly proportional to phi ia in the earlier. Here this is how it is happens, and n is directly proportional to eb phi a. That depends upon the voltage. Uh, Same as these characteristics, we are going to see the as is, but the variation is going to be at their speed and the armature current. You are having some slight. This is the difference you are experiencing between these two. So these two are the so finally the speed decreases when the torque increases. How this torque increases? Armature current increases when load increases. Okay, these are the characteristics under your running characteristics. Now finally for the DC shunt motor, how the complete performance, output performance, performance goes of your DC shunt motor. See, this is the additional you are going to be experiencing this. Other than these, all the three you have discussed now itself. The three characteristics are going to be combined. Combinedly, I am placing in a single thing. So that depends upon the output power, how these factors or these terms are going to be differ. All these are studied now in the previous slides. So the new thing is the efficiency. The new thing is efficiency. For DC shunt motor, see the character of the efficiency, how it varies. For the at the point of the rated load, it is going to be decrease when the output power increases. So for this, only I'm going to discuss the efficiency, how the efficiency is going to be varied. For the efficiency, uh, from the point, from the origin, the efficiency of the DC motor is going to be increased up to a maximum value, and then it is going to be at the maximum means at the rated load. By increasing the load, then what happens? The efficiency is going to be decreased. The efficiency is going to be decreased. So why? Because in the shunt motor, the field losses, friction losses, and iron losses are mostly constant. In the shunt motors, the field, friction, and iron losses are making approximately constant, not completely constant. Or mostly we will be having the approximately constant. Okay. When it is going to be considered as an approximate constant for high loads. For high loads. If we consider light loads, then what will happen? Their percentage is very high. The losses percentage is going to be increased as compared with the load. When compared with the load, the losses, that is nothing but iron and friction losses and the field losses are going to be increased or high when compared to the load. So that's why the armature current or not armature current. In the armature, the copper losses are going to be or copper losses varies as the armature current doubles the armature current. The copper losses varies as the square of the armature current. So that's why this term is nothing but termed as variable losses. Variable losses. So the main point you have to remember when the efficiency of the shunt motor is going to be maximum. Anyone? So the point which was discussed is here we have considered the maximum point. So when it is going means whenever the variable losses are equal to constant losses. Okay. This is the main point you have to remember while considering the characteristics of the efficiency which was drawn between the output power and the efficiency. So this is the efficiency in percentage. So that's why I have talking here depends upon the load, the loss percentage. Loss percentage is going to be very high at the high loads and the constant at very high at light loads and the constant at high loads. So the copper loss of the armature is depends upon the square of the armature current. So these losses is called as variable losses. So by comparison of these constant losses and variable losses, when at the point where these two losses are going to be equal, at that we are going to get the maximum efficiency. Maximum efficiency. That's it. Okay, these are the complete performance scores of the DC shunt motor. Okay, I have taken some time more. Next is DC series motor. We will discuss in the next class. So